everyone, and welcome to episode 152 of the Giddy Knits podcast. As always, I am Helen and I am coming to you from Dundee in Scotland, and this is where I get to chat about all of my crafty projects. Welcome back. And hello. Hello, as always, to my regular viewers. Thank you so much for coming in and watching, as always. And also a big hello to anyone that is new and checking out the podcast for the first time. If you are new and checking out the podcast, then please let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't subscribed, if you like what you see and you want to subscribe, then hit that subscribe button, because that's always exciting as well to see subscriber numbers go up. And yeah, I hope you do enjoy it. Thank you very much for watching. I said who I am and all of that kind of stuff. If you are new and you don't know who I am, beyond being Helen and living in Dundee, I am the dyer behind Giddy Yarns, which is a hand-dyed yarn business. And yeah, as I said, this is where I sit and chat about all of my projects and things like that. My hair is doing crazy things today. I am recording later in the day because I now have long days on Wednesdays because the kids go to after school club. So I have had a full day of dyeing and it's about 3:30, I think, and I am just sitting down to record. So I think my hair is arguing the fact that I've dealt with a lot of steam today. It's been really, really cold outside and I have to dye with my window open in the studio because otherwise everything gets really, really steamed up, but everything gets even more steamed up when it's really, really cold. So there's been a lot of steam going on today. Anyway, I'm starting off the podcast with a big ramble, aren't I? So, what have I got for you today? I'm going to start, as always, with a little announcement section. I will announce the giveaway winner from last week's episode. Also, I will just touch very quickly on our Makealongs. I have some finished objects to share with you. I'm then going to chat about what's in my basket, which is like my works in progress kind of section. I've then got a tiny bit of Yarny Goodness to share, and then we will finish up the episode, as we always do, with a little bit of shop news with what's coming to the shop in the next few weeks kind of thing. So, shall we get into it? Giveaway winner. Let's start with the giveaway winner. I did take a screenshot after I used the YouTube comment picker, so I will pop the screenshot up here so you can see. But our giveaway winner was Lisa Oldroyd 7417 is your YouTube username. So congratulations. And I once again don't have the box with me, but I was giving away one of my Christmas Eve boxes from last year, I think. I've forgotten. It was the 2024 one, wasn't it? I'm looking and I'm thinking I do have one as well from 2023, but I'm pretty sure it was the spare 2024 one that I was giving away. So anyway, get in touch and we will work it out. Drop me an email. My email address will be on the screen now and it is always underneath the video. But congratulations on winning the giveaway. Apologies to anyone who noticed a reply on their comment that was a very strange reply from a person using my picture, but using the username Giddy_knits, I think it was, something like that. Basically, because I did a giveaway and I used the term giveaway in the comments, but in the comments box, no, in the in like the detailed description box underneath, I got targeted by a wonderful spammer. Whether it was a bot or whatever, I don't know. But I spotted it quite quickly and I was able to block them, and they didn't seem to come back with anything else, and all of the comments that they left got deleted. But yeah, weird thing. With all of my giveaways and stuff, I will always announce them on the podcast. I will never contact you directly, and this is part of why I don't contact you directly, because any scammers and things like that are generally going to leave you a comment and ask them to contact you, or they're going to try and contact you directly on something like Instagram or something like that. So to avoid that kind of risk there, I will always announce on the podcast who it is, so you're hearing it come from my mouth, and then I will ask you to email me, and it will always be my email address that is on the screen, so you know who you're getting in touch with. But anyway, these things can be frustrating, but it all worked out fine. I deleted it and it wasn't an issue. Anyway, we have some make-alongs running as well. So 3 make-alongs running at the moment. I will give you a quick rundown of them. We have our bingo crafting challenge. There is still plenty of time if you want to join in and you want to set up your own bingo board and come and join in our bingo crafting challenge. We are chatting away on Discord with that, details of how to enter, where you can get the bingo boards, and I'll also try and make sure I put a link as well to the Vlogmas video where I talk specifically about the challenge. They'll all be available in the description box underneath. We also have my ongoing make-along, which is the Giddy Yarns make-along. So any project you are knitting that uses at least 50% of my yarn can be eligible to be entered for prizes. And we have prize draw threads on Discord and in Ravelry. Again, all linked underneath the video. And then finally, we have the knit-along that I am co-hosting along with the lovely Laura at The Lonely Knitter. Is your podcast still The Lonely Knitter, or are you all Folk Yarn Studio? I am so sorry, Laura, because I've got myself all muddled up. I'm going to look it up quickly on YouTube. Subscriptions. You are still Laura the Lonely Knitter on YouTube, but Laura is also Folk Yarn Studios on Instagram. She is the dyer behind The Lonely Knitter and also the organiser of East Anglia Yarn Festival. And anyway, we are co-hosting the Friends That Grimble Together knit-along, which is a gnome knit-along with using patterns from Sarah at Imagined Landscapes. Again, all the details will be underneath the video, but come and grimble along with us and make some gnomes. Okay, let's actually move on to some finished objects. I feel like we got through all the announcements quite quickly for once. I have got 3 finished objects to share this week. Now, I talked last week about how I was using my basket. We've gone back to the basket because my What's in the Basket section originated when I got this basket and I decided to use this basket to help prioritise my whips. And then towards the second half of last year, that just fell out. The basket got overloaded and I wasn't prioritising anything. So I've started this year with kind of refreshing the basket and reprioritising the whips that I want to be actively working on. And I'm going to review that each month. So that's kind of my plan. But for now, my plan with the basket is to have a blanket in it, a garment in it, a gnome in it, a pair of socks in it, my cross stitch in it, and then one other project in it. So that is kind of what I'm going with at the moment, but we'll see how that goes as the year progresses. Anyway, let's get back to finished objects. What I was trying to say was that prioritising my project seems to have helped because I have 3 finished objects. The first finished object is a gnome. I have finished my Nana. Nana was the mystery gnome for December from Sarah at Imagined Landscapes, and here she is. She is super cute. I used one of my gnome kits, the Neapolitan, which I can't reach them. I think they're the only ones that I've still got a few left over of. But I used the Neapolitan yarn kit and I love how it came out. Her cloak is removable and she does still have a hat. So she does have a hat underneath her cloak. And then, yeah, her cloak pops on. She's got little braids. And then she's got this super fun kind of colour work, which is all done through slipped stitches. So there's no actual stranded colour work on here at all. It's all just done through slipped stitches, but it's a really, really effective pattern on her body. And I think that Nana is a good example of how you can still have a good contrast between colours without them needing to have that black and white filter contrast. When people are picking colours for colour work, there's a lot of talk about putting your colours into a black and white filter to make sure you've got enough contrast between them. And that is absolutely a good way to do it if you're looking for a dark light contrast. But sometimes you can still get a nice contrast in colour work without requiring that by having different colours, if that makes sense. Because I was very conscious when I put this one up that a lot of Sarah's information said that you needed, well, was her I'm rambling, I'm not explaining myself well. A lot of her explanation and her advice was to use a black and white filter to help pick your contrast colours. And absolutely, yeah, absolutely, that is great advice. But sometimes you can still get a really, really nice kind of effect in colour work without your colours being high, low contrast, as long as the colours themselves are different enough to give you a visual contrast. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I don't think I'm explaining that very well. And I think that's why this particular kit, the Neapolitan kit, didn't sell as well, because it wasn't high contrast. But it still worked really, really nicely with the colour work. And even with these bits on the hat as well, with the pink and the brown, it still worked really, really well for that kind of colour work effect. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, this is my first gnome as well, finished for our friends that Grimble along, knit along. I think the goal was to have your first gnome finished in January and February, had 2 months for the first gnome. So I'm hoping I might get myself a little bit ahead, having finished one in January, because I'm hoping to get a couple knit in February because I would like to have some samples. I will explain that in a minute. I would like to have some samples for East Anglia Yarn Festival. But that's my first finished object. I've just realised I don't have any sock blockers here for one of my other finished objects. Little spoiler there. I think I can reach my dinosaur ones, so we should be okay. Then the other project I finished was my Snowdrift mittens. So these are a pattern by Wool and Pine. I keep getting that wrong, but I have now got it sussed and double checked it. And these are gorgeous cabled mittens. I loved doing this cable. It was a really, really, quite a complex cable for me. Lots going on, lots of different bits of cable going on. You had the moss stitch in this central bit as well. And it was just really, really fun. They're plain on the front. And they're just really lovely mittens. I fell in love with the pattern. I can't remember where I saw the pattern, but I fell in love with it when I saw it. I can't get the other one on now because, again, I've got a bulky watch. It goes on fine, but it's just getting it on is the pain. There we go. So yeah, I'm really, really, really happy with how they came out. The yarn I used for these was Rainbow Heirloom in the Princess Rockstar colourway. It's a DK pattern and a DK yarn. This yarn is 100% merino yarn, and I love this colour. It's so beautiful. I love that kind of tonal. I've got a bit of fluff on there, haven't I? I love that kind of tonal colouring, and yeah, it was just a pleasure to knit. And worked into absolutely beautiful mittens. So yeah, I knit them exactly to the pattern. I don't think I changed anything. The only thing I would say about the pattern, it was absolutely brilliant. There was nothing wrong with it at all. But I found it, for me, it was a little bit of one of those patterns that I find that is a little bit jumpy. So you kind of had to follow the chart. But while you were doing I think one of them I got it wrong on. While you were doing the increases for the thumb shaping, it was like you do that on every odd row, but it didn't have it in the chart bit. So I felt like I had to keep flicking backwards and forwards to remember what the increase was and when I had to do the increase, and then I had to go to the chart, and then you knitted the chart until a certain section, and then you had to go back to another bit and check what you needed to do. Like, it was a bit of one of those patterns where I felt like I had to jump back and forward in the pattern quite a lot, which I sometimes find a little bit of a challenge, because quite often I will forget that I need to jump back and just carry on knitting and end up making mistakes. But yeah, that's the only thing I'd have to say about the pattern, is that it does require a little bit of concentration to make sure you follow where you are in the pattern. But having said that, the charts were brilliant, the descriptions of the cables were brilliant, and it's created a lovely pair of mittens that I will absolutely wear loads. So yeah, that's that one. And then I have one more finished object, which is a pair of socks. I am going to have to scooch forward and see if I can reach. I can. Please, blockers. I don't know where all my other ones are. No idea. Oh, I do know where all my other ones are. I haven't taken down my sample rail from when I had the craft day because I quite like seeing all my samples, but that meant that all my sock blockers are on there as well with socks on them. Anyway, I finished a pair of socks. I literally finished these this afternoon. I have been dyeing up club yarn today. I've been dyeing up the first colourway in the Wonderland Yarn Club. But in between dye applications, I have been desperately trying to get these socks finished because I was so close. And I have managed it. So my first socks of the year are finished. So I have finished my Lapland Advent socks from the Yarn Badger. So here they are. Now, I will admit, I struggled a little bit with this section here because I'm not the biggest fan of brown. But once we hit into the greys and started moving through those blues and purples again, absolutely love it. And I love the effect of the sock overall. It is very different to her previous Advent colourways, and I know that's caused a little bit of discussion online, shall I say. But do you know what? I know exactly how much work has gone into hand painting those individual stripes because I've dyed self-striping yarn and it's not easy and it is time consuming, and the thought of hand painting that many stripes is just insane. So I know how much work has gone into this, and I think she has done a really good job. You can see really kind of nicely down here, I think, where if it would focus on the sock and not my face, where you've got solid stripes and then hand painted variegated stripes. This side might be, there you go. So yeah, you've got some green and some darker purples in this stripe, and then a solid purple, and then this one's got the light purple and the dark purple variegated. So it's a really clever kind of approach to a self-striping. And I finished them. So I am really happy to have a pair of socks finished already for January because I knit so few socks last year that it was ridiculous, and I really need to knit more this year. So I feel like my sock mojo is definitely coming back with my first finished socks. If I could hold them properly, there we go. My first finished socks of the year. Pattern wise, I didn't do anything different to what I'd normally do for a normal vanilla sock. So I did, well, I did slightly different ribs because I messed up the numbers of the ribs, but we'll ignore that. I did 68 stitches because that's what fits me best. I think I did, I aimed to do 3 stripes, which worked out at about 15 rows for the rib. I then did 60 rows for the leg. I put in a German short row heel, which is my preference. I then do 65 rows for the foot, and then I put in a toe, which is, I think, it's the one that Helen Stewart uses in a lot of her patterns, but I just have it now, I know exactly. But you do, you decrease every other row for 16 rows, and then you decrease every row down to 8 stitches on each needle, basically, I think. And that's just my general vanilla sock pattern recipe that I follow when I am knitting socks for myself. So there we go, 3 finished objects. Question is, can we keep up that momentum? So that does mean that the basket has had a few changes. There are a couple of projects that I've not made a lot of progress on, and there is one new project that I have started and have got some of this to show you. There are 2 upcoming projects, and then there's my habitation throw. So we will start with my habitation throw, which I have done some to. My aim, I think, is to try and get at least, but to try and get 2 colours added a month. And then I'll be happy with progress on this. So we'll see how that goes. But I am now on colour 1, 2, 3, I'm on colour 5 at the moment. So you've seen a fair amount of this. And yes, there is half a row of eyelets at one point and not a full row because I messed up. I got distracted by the children, put my knitting down, came back to it and then forgot I was on the eyelet row and just carried on knitting, but I'm not fixing it now. But yeah, I am on the 5th colour, just from this eyelet row up is the 5th colour. So it is still growing, slow progress, but it's going to be one of those slow projects, so I'm not too worried about that. But I will keep you updated as and when I am actively working on it, and we will slowly see it grow. Then the 2 projects that I've not done a lot on are, and in fact, I'm probably, well, I might, do you want to see them? Do you need to see them? I don't know. I never know. I'm like, I can't even pick up the bag now. I'm always a bit kind of, do I show the projects I've not done as much on? I have done a tiny bit on them both, so I will show them to you quickly. And that is my Granny Hexagon cardigan, which I have started a new colour. So I finished off the previous colour and I have now started to add this slightly duskier pink. So this one has all of that duskier pink added, and I am just close to finishing adding that slightly duskier pink to this one. I am running out of smaller minis, and I need to start having a little think about how I want to keep up the scrappy kind of feel using some of the larger leftovers that I've got, whether I want to have like just do a combination of each for a round each. I think that's probably what I'm going to do. Just do like 1 round of each kind of combination, or even 1 or 2 rounds or something like that, because I am doing this out of scraps. I've pulled out a load of kind of pinks, purples and blues scraps with the idea of it all being that kind of colour theme throughout. But I'm trying to match the 2 halves so that it doesn't look too over the top scrappy, so that it does still match, if that makes sense. So there needs to be a little bit of thought going into how I manage the colours. So far, I've just been weighing each of the minis and then crocheting the first hexagon until I've used half of the yarn, and then crocheting the second hexagon until I've used the yarn up. But I think going forward, when I've got some slightly bigger leftovers, like I've got a few like 40 gram cakes and things like that, I think I don't know, as the hexagon gets bigger it will use more yarn to do a whole round, but there's definitely at a point now where I think I will need to do kind of just 1 or 2 rows and then cut the yarn and join other colours and then come back to that colour later combined with a different colour, because I am holding 2 strands of fingering weight together, so I could use the same colourway a couple of times but combine it with different yarns and that would still work. Anyway, it involves a fair amount of thinking. And then the other project, oh, and I've not put stuff back in the project bag. Do you know how often that happens when I podcast and then I come back and I'm like, where's my pattern? Or I'm sure I had a pen in this project bag. Then the other project that's had a little bit of work on, but not as much as I would have liked, is my cross stitch. I am doing the Winter Wonderland cross stitch from Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and I have finished this building and added this building since I last showed it to you. I think I might also have added a little bit more blue in here as well, possibly, because I do every so often come back to adding a little bit more blue in here. So yeah, there is that one. I really want to do more cross stitch. I just need to kind of build the time in for it, really. But as you can tell, I've been working on other projects and things like that. I was desperate to get the mittens finished because there was a new pattern, a new hat. There was a new project that I wanted to start it. I've just given away that it was a hat. Me and my friend Wynne at Literary Diversions were decided we were going to knit colourwork hats together. Now, as you know, I have been attempting to conquer colourwork this year. It is on my list of things to try and do. So I thought, do you know what? Having somebody else motivating me and chatting to me about it and encouraging me about it is a perfect idea. So I picked a pattern and I have cast it on. Now, I'm not going to talk too much about this. I'm just going to show it to you. And that is because I am actually filming a little vlog, which I'm calling Conquering Colourwork, all about this specific pattern. I am talking through how I'm finding it and things like that, because it is kind of my first kind of attempt this year to really conquer colourwork, and I thought it might be fun to share that journey with you in a series of little conquering, if I could say the words, in a series of little conquering colourwork vlogs. But at the same time, it felt wrong not to show you a new project on the podcast. So anyway, I have cast on the Alaska hat, which is a pattern by somebody who I have forgotten and I don't have it written down, but this is how I am going so far. It is coming along and I'm actually doing all right. Yeah, so far so good, definitely. I need to spend a little bit more time working on it. Well, that's the same with any project, isn't it? But so far so good. The colourwork is still a little bit bobbly. My floats are pretty neat because I have been catching them at the back. The colourwork is still a little bit bobbly though, but that's not surprising because I am very much beginner when it comes to colourwork and things like that, unless it's on a gnome. But yeah, so far, so good. As I said, I'm not going to talk too much about it because otherwise I will completely spoil that vlog that will be coming up when this hat is finished. So keep encouraging me to work on the hat so that you can get the vlog about it. But that is the new project that has gone into my basket in replacement of my mittens. But then I also finished a gnome and I finished a pair of socks. So I needed a gnome to replace the current gnome. Now I haven't cast this on yet. That's not the gnome. That's the socks. This is the gnome. So I am going to cast on Nori, who is this gnome here. Nori is a gnome from the Gnomes of Grimblewood book by Sarah Shearer of Imagined Landscapes. And I dyed up kits for Nori late last year because Sarah was, I've lost Nori again. Where have you gone, Nori? There we are. There she is. I dyed up kits for Nori last year because Sarah was hosting a knit-along in November, and I was one of the official dyers for that. So I thought I would use one of those kits to start Nori. I am hoping to order some of these books. I have got an account with the people I need to order from. I just need to actually get around to ordering them. I am hoping to order some of these books so that I can stock them, particularly at shows. So I am hoping to have copies of this book for East Anglia Yarn Festival in March, which means I'm hoping to have a few samples made from the book. So I thought Nori seemed like a good next gnome. So I have picked out my Sky kit, which is this one here, and I am going to do the body of Nori in the dark blue, the hat of Nori in the light blue, and then her beard and nose in the grey, and her pockets will be in the light blue, I think. I think so, yeah, I need to double check what the pattern says. But yeah, that is the yarn that I am going to use for Nori. So that is all in a project bag, ready to go. I just need to cast it on. And then I dug out another pair of socks to be my focus. Now, I did debate this. Which pair of socks should I pick up? Which pair of socks should be my focus? I have got 4 pairs of socks, I think, on the needles at the moment. So I've got my Christmas cracker socks, which were my Christmas Eve cast on this year. I've got my Just Add Magic socks, which were my Halloween cast on this year. I've also got the Twinkle Toe socks, which I cast on during December 2023. And then there should be one other pair of socks, but I can't remember what they are off the top of my head. No, I don't know. Anyway, Oh, my opal socks, my commercial sock yarn opal socks that I'm putting the Afterthought heel in. So I wasn't sure which pair of socks to pick. So I have decided to go with my Christmas cracker socks, which were my Christmas Eve cast on this year, because they are the ones that I was having the most fun with and was the most excited about carrying on with. Now, you may remember me saying on the last episode that I hadn't cast these on concurrently, and that was annoying me because that is my plan for this year, is to try and remember to cast my socks on concurrently. It worked really, really well for me with these, because I haven't had that second sock syndrome. Basically, I cast them both on, got both ribs done, and then whenever I pick them up, I just pick up whichever one has had the least progress on. So I'm always kind of catching them up a little bit, I guess. So yeah, it worked really well with me for these socks. So what I have done is I have caked from the center of this cake, which is why it is now a very floppy cake. I have wound off 50 grams into another cake so that I can cast on the second sock. And I think that's my plan. So before I carry on with this one, I will get the second sock cast on and get it caught up. But in case you don't remember from last time, these are the Christmas cracker socks from Twinset and Pearl. They have this lovely kind of garter and lace pattern design on them. I have altered it a little bit because I'm only doing the pattern on the back of the sock, and I've also only done 1.5 repeats of the pattern as opposed to, I think it says 2.5 repeats or something like that. I've only done 1.5 repeats, but that's what I wanted. So yeah, I did have a lovely pink mini, which I still haven't found. I have absolutely no idea where it's gone. I caked it up at the studio and then it disappeared. So yeah, I've no idea where that's gone, but how much have I got? I'm gonna have to sort this out. I've got such a tangle coming from this sock, but I can't really do that on camera, so I will sort that out shortly. But yeah, they are the next sock priority. But I'm going to cast the second sock on and work on them concurrently, and hopefully that will work in the same way as it did with the Lapland Advent socks. So yeah, that is all of my projects. I think that is everything that is currently in the basket. The baskets are what is working as a priority for me, which is really, really good. So yeah, I'm enjoying my knitting at the moment. I am motivated, I'm wanting to get things done. I've got some itchy fingers to cast on some new projects, definitely, but I'm feeling like I'm finishing things, so there's space for that as well. Right, what's next? Yarny Goodness. I have a tiny bit of Yarny Goodness, and that is this. My final club from Wildflower Yarns came. So this is the December club, which was Faye was the theme. So here is the postcard, and here is the yarn. This is beautiful. Yeah, absolutely beautiful. I want to pull all of these out. I haven't done anything with any of them, they're just in my stash, but I want to pull them all out, and I am thinking I might do some kind of garment with them, but like stripe different colours in a garment or something like that. Oh, the minis come undone. I'll deal with that later. The other possibility I was thinking is I've always wanted to make a Find Your Fade shawl, and I feel like a lot of these colours would work really well together, so I kind of want to pull them out and see if maybe they would go really well into something like a Find Your Fade shawl. I don't know, but that one is very, very pretty. But that is it. I have had no other yarn come into the house as of yet, although I did get a notification that my yarn club for this year has shipped. I have signed up for Laura at The Lonely Knitter. I have signed up for her, I've forgotten what it's called, but her sock club. I will share that with you when it arrives. I've had notification to tell me that that is shipped. So yeah, that is going to be this year's yarn club. Right, that was it. That's all the Yarny Goodness. I need to weigh, that reminds me, I need to weigh those socks because I've only just finished them. But so far, I think I'm sitting at, without the socks, I was sitting at 120 grams of yarn in and 164 grams of yarn out. So far, so good. We will see. That's not going to, I have no impression that I am not going to end up with more yarn in this year than out. That is absolutely going to happen. But it's still fun to track it. Shop news. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about in shop news is that I am going to be doing an Advent pre-order for, so this is for last year's Advent calendar, so the Hogfather Advent calendar from 2024. I am going to be doing pre-orders for 100 gram skeins of 12 selected colours from that Advent calendar. I was only going to do 10. And then I couldn't narrow it down. I struggled enough to narrow it down to 12. But I thought I would share the 12 with you. I don't have them dyed up on 100 gram skeins yet. I am going to be doing that tomorrow because I want to have photos of them on 100 gram skeins for the pre-order. The pre-order will go live on the 31st of January. It'll probably be open for a week or so. I don't quite know. I haven't made decisions on that yet. And it will probably ship out, if it's open for the first week, probably ship out mid-March, I suspect. Maybe the end of March because of East Anglia. I will be having a little look at the dates. But all of that information will be available in the listings and stuff anyway. But anyway, I wanted to share the 12 colours that I have decided on. So we have gone for, excuse the fact they've all got little bits of paper on it. It's just to remind me which number they are. So when I come to dye them up, I know which colour to dye. So we have got this one here, which is very psychological. And then we have got anthropomorphic personification, which is, can't find it, where are you? No, it's hiding. It is hiding. There. Anthropomorphic personification, which is that one there. Then we have got biological and temporal impossibility, which is this one here. Then we have got Eta Beta Pi, which is this one here. Is that right? Yeah. Then we have got the Library of Death, which is this one here. Then we have got the Cheerful Fairy, which is this one here. Come on, camera, focus on the skein. There we go. The Pig is Getting Fat, which is this one here. I'm the Hogfather, of course, which is this one here. Old Magic, which is this one here. The Auditors of Reality, which is this one here. And then Old Gods Do New Jobs. Which is that one there. And then finally, Ho Ho Ho, which is that one there. Should go very nicely with the top I'm wearing, wouldn't it? So there we go. So that is the 12 colours that I'm going to be bringing back as 100 gram skeins. I do have them all as little swatches, but it's probably easier to show you those in photographs and things like that. But I will be putting up photographs before the pre-order launches with the little swatches in there as well. And that is the 12 colours that I am going to go for. They'll be available to dye up across my 100 gram skein bases. Yeah, and that's the plan. it was tricky picking the colours, I have to say. I picked colours because I wanted, so I got rid of colours that were too similar. Not that they were too similar, but like, instead of having like 4 colours that were based around green, I narrowed that down to like my favourite of the green colourways and things like that. I tried to have a mix of the more pastel and the kind of more concentrated colourways, I guess. And then I also wanted to have colourways that were going to work together. So you could maybe get, oh, I'm trying to pick one back up again now. So you could maybe get like 2 or 3 colours that would go really nicely in a project together. For example, I don't know, I'm just grabbing them at random, but like that kind of thing, if that makes sense. Or you could do the 3 kind of purples if you wanted to. So you could have kind of projects that would work well together in things. But also, I was also conscious when I was picking the colours that I was trying to pick colours that would dye up well on 100-gram skeins as well, because sometimes there is a difference between how something will look on a mini skein and how it will look as a 100-gram skein. So I also tried to pick the 12 colours that I thought were going to look the best on 100-gram skeins as well. So yeah, that is that. Pre-order will be going live on the 31st of January. That is that one. And then I was just going to mention quickly, although I am pretty sure I'll be podcasting before then, but I do have a little Valentine's update planned on the 7th of February. It will be a ready to ship update. It will be a limited update. I am going to be doing some Valentine's gnome kits. So I'm going to have 2 Valentine's gnome kits available because I thought, why not? That would be fun. Who doesn't want to knit a Valentine's gnome? So I'm going to have 2 Valentine's gnome kits available. And then I'm also going to just I've dyed it today actually. I also am going to be creating just a Valentine's colourway, which I'm then going to be dyeing up as sock sets and on a few different 100-gram bases. I'm going to dye it up on some of the boot clay as well because I've got some of that left over. And yeah, I just thought that would be fun. So it will be 2 gnome kits and then 1 colourway dyed up across a few different bases. Yeah, just for a little bit of fun to enjoy myself at the dye pots. So yeah, that will be coming on the 7th of February. But that's it, I think, really, for shop news now. So yeah, I think I'm done. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Bye.